Welcome, everyone. Got it? Okay.
Right.
So, we are doing things a little bit different today. I'm being interviewed to share my story, my journey, and some of my sacrifices that I had to make as a mom by my good friend Paul.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing today?
So Paul used to have his own podcast, which you're working on now. You're working on the new one?
I gotta get a little bit more demand. Her podcast already come off popping. My podcast was King of DeBerry's podcast. I started back in 2019. And I really enjoyed the process. So just seeing Tanyelle just kind of grow this platform, man, it's just been a pleasure to watch. So
thank you. I appreciate that. Well, while you in the mood of talking, share with us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Y'all want to hear my backstory. So like I said, my name is Paul DeBerry. Originally born from Detroit, Michigan. Grew up here in Richmond, Virginia area. I got a background in finances, was in finances since 2010, 2012. But my main passion, my purpose in life right now is my organization, Rebuilding Men. Yes. And I've been doing that since 2019, but officially became a nonprofit in 2022. So really been pushing that, man, really trying to give an outlet for older men and younger men to better ourselves, create a safe space for that to happen, and to go out here and better our communities. So that's been my main purpose. That's kind of why I fell back from podcasting and everything like that to really focus on that. But that's been the main thing I've been working on. So y'all make sure y'all go check me out.
Definitely.
At Rebuilding Men, REBUILDINGMEN. Y'all go follow me on there, and we're going to make this about Tony now. So let's go ahead and
get we'll make sure that we tag all his links of where you can find him in the video. So no worries. If you couldn't catch all of that, we'll make sure that we put that on there.
Yep.
But okay, let's get to it. I've been waiting for this day. We've planned for a while now to do this, and I just want to say you look great.
Man, I got to step it up, man. See, I might have stumbled with her name. I said Tanyelle because I was about to say Art Bay. That's how I know her as. So she got some amazing paintings too, man. She's a very talented young lady. So
thank you.
Just to see your growth and everything like that, and I think it's just amazing. And even I guess we kind of go right into it. Like, how did you even come up with the idea to start this podcast?
So I came up with the idea to start the podcast was because you know how sometimes you go through challenges and you don't understand them. You don't understand why you're being taken through so much in your life. And I realized that all of my mistakes and all of the things that I've done as a mom led to this. It led to me wanting to meet other moms because so many times I used to feel alone with my parenting. I'm like, dang, man, nobody understands. I don't have no friends that I can talk to that's going through the same thing. I'm talking to people who don't have kids. I'm talking to people who, their kids grown or they just don't understand where I'm at right now. So I said, okay, let me start a platform of other women who have stories just like me. Like I need real stories. I need you to really been going through some things and probably still is. So that was my motivation behind that.
Now this the part, like y'all don't know, but me and Tony talked about this. We went back and forth about this. How'd you come up with the name?
So the name is no longer the name. It's different now.
Oh, it's different.
Yeah. So as you can see, I didn't introduce it as From Mom to Bruh because the purpose became bigger.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I realized I was starting off too small. And God said, nah, it's bigger than From Mom to Bruh. So it just really didn't match with the inspiration that I have for the podcast.
Okay.
So I'm working on a name now.
Yeah. You know what? Hey, so this is what y'all do. If y'all watching this, throw some comment suggestions for the name down in the comment section.
Yeah, absolutely.
Help her inspire her with a new name. So it's Untitled Until Further Notice.
I would really love y'all help with that. Absolutely.
So, all right. So let's start the journey. At what age did you become a mom?
I was 15.
15. So can you talk through that whole situation of becoming a mom at 15?
Yes. becoming a mom at 15 was tragic.
Yeah.
Because, well, first let me back up. I didn't know I was pregnant until I was 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you not know?
Because at 15, you don't worry about stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, you do what you do. You ignore the signs. You don't really, your brain is not functioning enough to be like, oh, I think I'm pregnant.
Yeah. At 15 years old.
Yeah, for 5 months, no period. I'm good. So, when I found out that I was pregnant, it was just like, oh my God, it was a shocker. Even though, let me back up because I feel like I'm missing some details. So we went to the doctor and they told me I was pregnant, but I lied because I didn't want my grandma to know. I said, no, I swear.
Who did you go to the doctor with?
I went to the doctor with my grandma and my cousin. And I lied to them and I told them that I never had sex. So they thought it was a cyst in my ovaries. So that's what made the process longer because now we got to go to the surgery, get an ultrasound and, wait a few weeks and things like that. So when we went, they was like, no, you're pregnant. And my grandma was like,
she went crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah. My cousin went crazy too. He was like, you dumb, you stupid. Why would you do that? My grandma was like so sad. So that's how that was. I mean, at 15, it was just like, dang, what I'm going to do now.
Yeah.
I'm still in school. I don't know what to do. I don't know what type of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I literally just don't know.
Yeah. So I think you brought up a good point because I remember being in high school and seeing a girl pregnant in high school and the stigma that go along with that. So how was that?
Oh, I hid it. Nobody knew. Everybody.
How you hide it for 9 months?
I used to wear this big old coat. I hid it. I have people telling me now, the person that came and did my hair a while ago, he was like, I still want to know how you hid your pregnancy like that. I hid it to the T. Nobody know. Like I wasn't just out there happy showing. I mean, I'm 15.
Yeah.
So I had on this big coat. You couldn't really tell I wasn't really showing. But the people who knew. But the people who didn't know.
Yeah. So some of your high school classmates just saw you pop up with a baby one day.
Yeah.
So going from, well, what was your pregnancy like at 15? Like going through the pregnancy, did you have like a lot of sicknesses, complications, anything like that?
No, I was pretty healthy. It was just uncomfortable. It was just uncomfortable being 15 and pregnant. And it was uncomfortable.
That sounds like a show when you said that. 15.
It is. It's a show called 16 and pregnant.
I knew it. I thought I heard it somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. It was literally just uncomfortable, to be that young. But then my other cousins started getting pregnant and they started coming out. So it became a little bit more comfortable. Not saying I was happy, but it was like, okay.
You're not the only one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you go through your pregnancy. What was like delivery and everything like that?
Delivery was, let me think, because sometimes we forget about these things. I don't think about this on a day-to-day.
Yeah. But just, it might be some young girls out there that's listening that might be in the same scenario.
Right.
That's like, yo, I have no clue what to expect. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, kind of talking to them. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Delivery was just, you don't really know what you're going to get until it happens, right? So in delivery, it was just, it hurt. I feel like this is uncut, unfiltered. But it felt like someone's sticking up your butt when you had those, what is it called?
The contractions?
Yes, the contractions. When you had the contractions and you were dilating at a certain amount, it just felt like something was being shoved up your butt. It hurts. Even with the epidural.
Yeah.
So it was real painful.
It was real painful.
It was painful.
I got you.
Yeah.
So, we keeping it real and unfiltered. So what was the relationship with your child's father at that time at like 15 and going through that process? How was that?
Yeah. So at that time, he had made the decision to not want to be a part of our life. So
how old was he?
He had lied about his age and his whole life. until I got pregnant and I had to go share with his aunt, which he said was his mom at the time, what was going on. And she pretty much broke down his age. I still don't know how old the boy. I think he got to be maybe 2 years older than me. So I want to say about 35, 36.
So how did you meet him?
We met at school.
Y'all met at school. Okay.
Ninth grade.
Was he? So he was a little bit older than you, or?
He said he was the same age as me.
Y'all was like in the same grade?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I see what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, he said he was the same age as me, but he was 2 years older.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So after you told him, he was just like, I don't want nothing to do with you and the baby pretty much? Or was he just like denying it, saying like, yo, I don't know if it's mine? Like, what was the situation?
Yeah, because he was in a relationship at the time with another girl that we were in school with. And I guess he didn't want her to know, but she ended up finding out anyway. So he was around for a little bit in the beginning. He wasn't in the living room, but it was like after I had my baby, my brother had to call and threaten him to come see. So it was like he one of those type of fathers. Till he gets threats and phone calls saying, come see your kid, come get your kid. He not gonna make no moves. He not gonna, you know what I'm saying? He not gonna buy nothing. He not gonna do nothing unless you threaten him to do.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, you go through that situation, you're going through it. It sounds like without the child father, does that do something mentally to you? Like to have that type of situation at 15 going through it alone? Like,
yeah, it did. It was heartbreaking because he would say he would watch her. And he didn't live too far from us. He lived like down the street. You know what he lived by Mosby. I lived in Churchill.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
so,
that ain't that far.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would walk to his house and he wouldn't answer the door after he said he was going to watch the baby. So stuff like that was just like heartbreaking, and it was hard, and it was like, why is he doing all of this? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's your child. So to this day, he doesn't claim my daughter.
Yeah. All right. So
and his name is Daquan Pittman.
We're gonna see if we're gonna keep that one. We're gonna give us some time to think about that one. But so now your daughter's born. You're still 15 or 16 now.
Yeah.
And
I'm 16.
So you're 16 now. You got a baby. So what is life like for you at 16-year-old, still going to school with a baby? Like, what is like the mindset that you have now going on?
So the mindset it's still the same. It's still young, immature. Even though I have a baby, I didn't do the things that I should have done, like read baby books, educate myself on how to take care of a baby. I'm just getting up, getting her dressed, showing her off, but I'm lacking parenting skills as a mom. So it was just like, okay, I have a baby, but I had support too, and my grandma spoiled her so much.
Yeah, that's what grandmas do.
Yeah, it was hard living in the same household with my grandma because she had different ways of parenting. She heard the baby crying, pick her up. I'm like, wow, I'm cleaning up my room. It was just, there was no peace at 15 and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you need to do this. This is how it's supposed to be done. And if I don't do it, she'll do it. She'll take control. So that became the relationship there in the household with me and my grandmother and my daughter.
Do you have to feel like you got to go out and get a job and all of that type of stuff to financially, like what was the financial part of it?
Right. So, because we grew up in poverty, it's like, oh, put him on child support, go get Tanner type of mindset. So you can be able to provide for him. I don't think I got my first job at like 17 though, because I was always motivated to want money and to be independent on my own anyway. So I did end up getting a job, but it wasn't because I had a baby. It was basically I was just ready to start movement.
Making money.
Making money.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the high school phase, right? So you go through high school. Now you graduate high school because it's a totally different mindset. Because when you go to high school, 8 hours of your day is already just pre-planned for you.
Right.
What is life like as a single mom
after high school?
After high school now, where you got all day to try to figure out what you're gonna do. What was life like for you then?
It was hard because, like I said, we grew up in poverty. So we grew up in this house in Churchill where it was falling apart. And I had to raise my daughter in that house, and it was scary. And we got left in that house because my grandma ended up moving out, and we ended up staying. And it just made it more harder to take care of her because it's like we didn't have the things that we need. Like this, you walk into a space, it's comfortable, it's nice. We didn't have any of that. So it was like, I need to do something. So that's when I signed up for housing assistance. And I ended up getting my first apartment in Wickham Court.
Okay, in Wickham Court. Now, we know Wickham Court. That bring a whole nother question. What's it like raising a kid, single parent in Wickham, y'all?
Man, it was crazy.
And real quick for the viewers out there, Wickham Court is a project here in Richmond, Virginia, yo. It's like that. But go ahead.
It was crazy. It was this one lady, and a lot of people may know her. I ain't gonna say her name. She had 13 kids.
Damn.
And they were always
I don't know if we could
they were always outside bothering other kids. Exposed 13 of them. And I don't blame the mom in no type of way. But it's like she can't control 13 kids. That's just realistic. So they would be outside till like 11 o'clock at night, terrorizing the neighborhood. So it was real hard because you had those kids that would expose your kid to things that they never been exposed to. And you can't stop them from going outside because it's part of their environment. So it was chaotic. It was, because it's like, I want you to be social and make friends, but I don't want you hanging around this type of certain friends. But what can we do? It was hard because I wanted her to have a social life, but I also didn't want her to be exposed to certain things that would traumatize her.
So what ages was you in Wickham for her? Or around what ages was she?
So before I moved to Wickham, she actually went to move with my grandma. So I believe she was like 3.
Okay.
So at that time, I'm like 18, ready to be 19 probably.
Yeah.
So I'm still a baby.
Yeah.
I'm still a kid.
Yeah. You just in young adulthood, you starting to feel yourself now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm starting to feel myself. I got my own place, that was the good part about it. I had my own place to parent. But I wasn't a good mom. I wasn't.
And why would you say that?
Because I was young. Again, I didn't have no parenting skills. My grandma pretty much raised my daughter. So when she came around, when she finally got back with me, reconnected with me to live with me, it was difficult to parent her or know how to parent her because I had got used to being by myself and alone and not having to worry about a kid. So I didn't necessarily have to do the work that I should have done to know what to do. So I would yell, I would beat, I would scream, I would say things that wasn't appropriate to say to a child because as kids they take all this stuff in. Yeah. They sponges.
Everything.
Yeah, they're little sponges. But I would say most people would think they're a good parent because that child never goes without. So it's nothing that my daughter didn't have, but she didn't have an active, conscious mom. And I think that was the issue.
So, all right. So when you brought up parenting skills, you now, if you could talk to you back then, what parenting skills would you tell yourself you should have to kind of help raise your daughter?
Yeah. So I would tell myself to think before I say, because I was one of those type of parents that always would just blurt out things that was unnecessary. I will also tell myself that beatings are not always necessary for situations. Learn how to talk, learn how to communicate. See, when I was raised, is, when I used to call people for advice, beat her, go get the switch
Yeah.
off the tree and whoop her. And then I realized, like, damn, it's working against me now. All these beatings is not working anymore. So I'm gonna have to switch it up. I'm gonna have to try something different. That was like literally my only tool because that was what they told me to do.
So you would say just being more communicative with your child, being more patient.
Right. Understanding that they're just a kid.
Yeah.
Because now I understand why I got knocked upside my head a couple of times, when you become a parent. Yeah. So it's easy to forgive your parents now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we done went all the way up to about 18, 21. So welcome that transition out of it. Because I know a lot of people that get stuck there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy, government assistance. You don't got bills is dirt cheap if you even got any.
Right.
What was the mindset that you had as a single mom to be like, yo, like, I don't want to get comfortable here. I want to elevate and get up out of it. What was that process like?
That process was just, I don't want to live like everybody else, because you got people around there, they've been there 10 years, 20 years. Like you said, they get comfortable. And I'm like, nah, I want better for myself. I want better for my daughter. So I'm like, I'm going to have to move. Then I was like, damn, where I'm going to go? Because I'm only making this. I'm only making that. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a better job. So I started planning out. I'm going to get a better job. I'm going to see what I can afford. And then I'm going to move in that direction. So yeah, it was just like really focusing on what I wanted, because I know this is not what I want forever.
Yeah.
This was just a stepping stone to get out of my grandma's house, to get out of there. Because if I could have stayed there, I would. But the house was just it was in bad condition. It was like, if I stay here, I'm gonna pretty much have the same mindset that I have now forever.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a switch that said, look at these people. Do you want to really be like them?
Yeah.
And I was like, myself told me, So I made the decision to move, and that's when I moved to Chicago Manor in Southside.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. So, but how do you do all of that and still balance being a parent, single parent on top of that? Like, how's the balance?
I had my grandma.
Got you.
That was a cheat. She was a cheat code.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like the real life cheat code. If I ever wanted to take my daughter over there, I could. If I, she had a really good relationship with my daughter outside of me, so it was never a problem with her getting hurt. And then she didn't feel like I was mentally stable enough to like have her around 24/7 at the time anyway.
So she was super active then.
Yeah, she was.
Okay. Shout out to grandma then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So Chicago, you said Chicago Manor. I ain't familiar with that one.
That's near Blackwell.
Oh, okay. All right. So around what age are you now at that time?
Chicago Manor. So give me a second, y'all. Let me do the math.
Yeah.
So 32.
Or just a time, just a like a frame, like your mid 20s. I'm
probably like 24 now.
Yeah, so your mid 20s. Yeah. All right. So what's going on with Tony in her mid 20s, far as making another move and getting out the projects and everything like that? What's the mindset then?
The mindset then is like, I made it. Woo! So it was like a breath of fresh air, knowing that, hey, I did it. Even when the odds was against me, even when, I had to struggle with my own mental to get me out of certain places and mindsets. But it felt really good to be away from subsidized housing.
Yeah.
It felt good. But it also was triggering, because it's like, I got bills to pay.
Yeah.
I got to get it, you know? So I had to work. I had to really work like a 9-to-5 job. There, I could just kind of bounce around,
do what you want to do.
Do what I want to do. Kind of, okay, I work here. It's not working. So I'm going to go find somewhere else, So it was one of those.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going from, what was that, the East End?
East End to the south.
To the south. So you going to the south side, everything like that. So what was that process like, moving your daughter to a whole nother situation, probably a whole new school? She got to make new friends. Was that transition like real tough on her?
No, because she was right around the corner from my grandma.
Okay, all right, yeah. As long as she near grandma, yeah.
We was literally right around the corner from my grandma.
Okay.
So we would go over there a lot to go see her. She was going to another school. This is kind of where her journey starts with, the acting up, the constantly getting put out of school. All the things that I did beforehand start showing at school, with behavior issues, not being able to get along with authority, not being able to meet friends, just destructive. Yeah. So my parenting skills really started to show when she got into Blackwell.
So how was you doing? What were you doing to try to correct that at that time? Had you started working on those different skills of like, yo, I can't keep beating her now? Were you starting to work on those other skills, or were you still kind of resorting to the same old habits?
A little, because I still didn't have that maturity. I still didn't have that growth that I needed. I don't know. I just think my mind was in the wrong places. I cared about things that I shouldn't have cared about. When you young, you 24, you want to date, you want to move around. You're not, because you got your grandma. But then when I started realizing, I think what happened was I started realizing that my grandma played a big part in all of this too. Because my grandma would tell her things like I didn't love her or I didn't care about her. And it started to put a hinder on our relationship. And because of that, it was hard to fix. So at times I was like, man, I don't even care, because my grandma done already got in her head. She think I don't love her. And so I'm back yelling.
Yeah.
How it is when you got to get out of that mindset that you done talked yourself into. So it was really one of those.
This is something I just thought about while you was talking about that. With the fact you having a kid so young, and then you had your grandma there to support it, do you feel like y'all was more like older sister, younger sister type of relationship growing up to a certain point? Or do you think you really felt like a mom?
No, I didn't think it was a younger sister, big sister, little sister relationship, but I also didn't feel like a mom. So it was like, I have a kid. I don't know what to do with the kid.
Yeah.
So I'm just get a kid to my grandma.
Yeah.
Until I figure it out. That's kind of where I was. But then that had to change, because like I said, my grandma was doing it. So I had to figure out how to be a mom. Because for the longest, I wasn't really a mom. And I wouldn't say I was a big sister. I don't know what I was.
Because I know a lot of stories in our time before us where the kid had a kid young. They would give it to the older sibling, or the mom would raise it, and they just raised as big sister, younger sister. Like I done heard stories. Y'all comment if y'all heard that before too. But I heard stories like that. So when you was talking, it made me kind of think about that a little bit as well too. But so going back to your story and everything, so now you said you started wanting to be a mom. Where do you start? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
When you already a mom.
Right. Where do you start when you're already a mom, but haven't really been the best or the most present mom? You start with recognizing the problems that you've initiated in your own life. And because she was getting in trouble in school a lot, it was a wake-up call. Okay, now we got to get an IEP. Now we got to have all of these meetings. Now I really have to be a mom. But they could see that I was one of those young moms that wasn't developed. So they could play around the certain areas where I wasn't intelligent. So I got screwed over a lot in the school systems when it came to getting help for my daughter. And that was the wake-up call, because I'm like, all right, these RPS schools is really playing with me right now. And I got to figure it out. I got to figure out how I could help her, because I know that part of me was the reason why she's acting like this.
Yeah.
And why she's growing into that. So I had to get her counselors. I had to be more mature, because now the counselors got to come into my home. And I got to stop doing some of the things that I was doing, smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, talking to certain people. You know, I got to be more mature now, because I literally have people around watching.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's good, man.
Yeah.
So, that's a good gem for a lot of moms out there.
Yeah.
So as you're going through this process of, like, I guess, really learning to be a mother, you're getting older. Your daughter's getting older. I guess because you know, raising kids is tough, and a lot of times they don't listen. So you putting in all this work, and you trying. What is it like when you, I guess, not feel like you don't see the results, or the behaviors don't change? Like, what is your thoughts, and like, what do you do during those situations?
Normally, when we don't see results with anything in life, we go back to what's comfortable, until we have to get out of that comfortability and make another change. And then when we make that other change, it's deeper and it's bigger now, because it's like, okay, I done came across a little bit more wisdom. I done came across a little bit more understanding of what to do after going back into that safe space. So I literally, I will go back into things that were comfortable, because it would be too much to process for me, you know, because I'm just one person. It would be too much. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? So I just go back to what I felt would bring the most comfort in all the pain that I was experiencing as a kid. So, you know, for some people it's drugs, it's sex, it's alcohol, it's clubs. You know, we all have our different habits that we, you know, indulge in at young age. Yeah.
So, all right. So we at Blackwell. What's the next step after that?
Okay. This is where things start to change. This is where I discovered Bob Proctor.
Oh, okay.
On YouTube.
Okay.
And watching him and listening to him, he changed my perspective.
How'd you come across Bob? Just randomly popped up.
You know, when you start thinking about you wanting to change your life and you wanting to be better, eventually the universe will send you the information that you need.
Can you explain to people who Bob Proctor is?
Yes. So Bob Proctor is an author. He's a author. He's a motivated speaker, and he's a philosopher.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And he shares motivation videos on the law of attraction, how you could change your mindset and be more abundant and more fluent. He teaches you how to think. That was the issue. I realized when I started listening to him, I didn't know how to think. I wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
So when he started teaching me how to think, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I won't think in here, or here. I was just doing stuff. So I give him his flowers, because he was definitely the person that switched it up for me a lot.
All right, we're gonna take a little detour, because I want you to what's some
incredible actually with Bob Proctor.
Okay, go ahead.
Once I started listening to Bob Proctor, because the vegan came later on in the journey.
Okay.
But I was like, I'm ready to go see him. Sold my house. I ain't gonna say sold my house. Gave up my house. Sold my car. Sold all my furniture in my house. I even sold my food stamps. I got a ticket to LA, and I went to a 3-day Bob Proctor seminar. When I got there, I was like, holy shit. It was so many people. So many people was there. And, you know, they was dressed up. They looked professional, how we look now. I didn't look like that. I didn't even have the right attire.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm there with my daughter. You know, we got tickets. We listening, we syncing all of this information up. We actually get to meet Bob Proctor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I told him, I was like, I gave up everything to be here. What should I do? He said, you got to figure out what's next for you. And I'm like, but I don't know. Because the goal was to work with him. Because, you know, in his story, he shared that Earl Nightingale took him in and trained him. So I'm like, delusional, you know, 24 delusional. I'm thinking he, you know,
take you in,
take me in and train me up. I don't know why I thought that. I don't know why. But I did think that he was going to tutor me. He was going to mentor me. And when he didn't, it was like a slap in the face. And at that point, I realized I was homeless. I'm in LA. I'm homeless. I have my daughter. We don't know what to do, where to go. We don't even know nobody. So that itself was tough because I'm thinking I'm making the right decision. I'm thinking I'm making the right move. I'm thinking I'm doing what's best for me, right? And I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm out there by myself. I don't know nobody. I'm sitting around in McDonald's all day, continuously listening to the stuff that he taught us, and we don't have nowhere to go. And everybody think, oh yeah, she went to LA, she good, she peaches, she about to blow up. Whole time I'm struggling. So my grandma realized it only lasted about a month. Just wandering around, meeting people. I was actually about to go sign up for the projects out there. And get me and my daughter into, you know, an apartment. But then my grandma called me and she was like, come back home. You made your point. Just come back home. She was like, we know you can do it. We know you can do it. Just come back. So she got us tickets to come back home. And we came back and I had to live with my aunt and 5 other people in the house, in the 2-bedroom house.
And what was y'all at there?
We was in Blackwell.
Blackwell, okay.
Yeah, we went back to Blackwell and we lived with them. And then things got terrible there. I ended up getting assaulted by my cousin. He blacked my eye, he broke my nose because of something that he did to my daughter. And then when I approached him about it, he kind of went crazy and tried to fight me. And he ended up breaking my nose and blacking my eye. And then when I went to the hospital, the lady that was in the hospital was like, I don't want you back there with your daughter. So she put me in Doorways, which is downtown. It's actually for, Doorways. Shout out to Doorways. I need to donate some money to them or something. But shout out to Doorways.
Y'all make sure y'all donate to Doorways.
Please. That it was phenomenal. The experience there was just phenomenal. So it's for patients in MCV when their family comes to visit. They stay there. They stay at Doorways.
Okay.
And we had a room. We had we had 2 beds. We had a TV. It was like a little mini hotel. We had a bathroom, all of that. So I had kind of time. They let me stay there for a month. I didn't have to pay anything. So I kind of had time to kind of like be away. Then after that, we had to go to a shelter. And I thought things were getting better in the parenting life, but I realized that because I've made so many mistakes as a mom with the yelling and the beating and the fighting and the cursing, that it only got worse as time went on. And the relationship did not go the way that I wanted to go because, again, I still didn't have the skills. I'm listening to Bob when I should have been listening to somebody else. Somebody telling me, hey, stop yelling, communicate, and listen. I think I didn't know how to listen the way that I listen now. I listened to understand. Back then, I listened to respond. So it was just completely different. So we in the shelter. We in there. We in there with other people. Yeah, more chaos. Because you know how some people get jealous of you because you're homeless, but you don't look homeless. You're homeless, but you're the only one. I'm literally the only one there who has a job. I'm working at Publix now as a cake decorator.
Okay.
So
I can see you doing that too.
Yeah. I'm doing a little good. I'm homeless, but I'm making it. So I got a job and I'm going to work, but we had to be back at a certain time. So my hours changed and I wasn't able to have the flexibility that I wanted. So I had to bring my daughter to work with me all the time. So that was tough. Then I ended up quitting Publix. And I was only in the shelter for about 11 months. And then we moved to Creighton. And I was so upset. I was like, I do not want to live around here. I didn't want nobody to see me. Because you know how everybody just know you.
Yeah.
Know you because your family, know you because you go to school with them. It's just too familiar. And I was just like, I do not want to live over here. Because the plan was to go to Rainbow. You know what Rainbow is?
What is that?
So Rainbow is in Fulton, the bottom of Fulton.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do think I know what you're talking about.
There's some apartments over there. I wanted to go over there. But the lady told me, the owner of the shelter told me to go to Creighton because they were building these. And she said,
just to wait.
Yeah, she said if you go over there, you can get approved for the new ones that they building. I'm like, okay. I didn't believe her at first because it was just they would lie and I would have to report them a lot for the things that they were doing. The workers at the shelter were real rude. One lady was on drugs. So it was just real chaotic. I had to advocate. This is where I found my voice. I had to advocate for some of the people in the shelter because we were being treated wrong. And I won't gonna stand on it. You know what I'm saying? I won't gonna let any of that happen. So that's why I've literally found my voice, being able to speak for myself, my daughter, and for some of the other people that were in more worse situations than me. So yeah, I was there with a black eye.
Going through all of that.
Yeah, going through it. So then I end up meeting Miss Kanika. And Miss Kanika was just, she was like an angel. She got me a car. She helped me to the T. She helped me with my daughter. She got my daughter into like programs. Anything that I needed, she would help me. And she was so, you know how sometimes we can get so stuck on helping a person because we just see the good in them. Like, dang, why did you have to be in this situation? That it became a little toxic for her because, you know, she really wanted to help me. She genuinely wanted to help me. But then I think that it started consuming her personal life. So she fell back. And at first I took it personally because I'm like, dang, I enjoyed her being around. She helped me. You know, she was here for me. And then she had to, you know, fall back a little. And then I didn't have her. And it kind of like broke my heart. But I see her to this day and she like, yo, you look so good. You look amazing. You're doing great things. You know, she tell me that she's proud of me. So, you know, it took a while to kind of get over it because, like I said, she was like an angel. Like she came, she got me this truck. I was the only one that had a car, had a job in the shelter. Oh, that was big man.
Yeah.
So, and then I was able to move all of my stuff because I had a car then. And yeah.
So what? Now I'm definitely familiar with Creighton.
Yeah.
So what was that process like? And so around what age is your daughter now when y'all moving into Creighton, and what that process like now?
Right. So Neek had to be like 10 now. You know, her preteen ages. Either she's like, she like 10.
Okay.
11 maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we only been there for 11 months. So that process, it was hard. The transition was real hard because it's not where I wanted to be. And
a lot of familiar faces and stuff over there.
Too many. And people get to know you and they think they know you. I done been through so much at this point, right? We done made through how many transitions? I'm a whole different person now. But again, I still don't have the skills that I desired to be a better parent. And I think that what kind of like took me for a loop. But I'm learning. I'm learning as I go. Because, as my daughter, and I don't mean to like jump everywhere.
No, this your platform. Yeah. You do what you want to do.
As my daughter get older, what I had to realize is it's hard for me to think like a kid. Because at 15, I couldn't be a kid. I had to be a mom. So I don't know how to think like a kid. I don't know how to be a kid. None of that no more. I'm in adult mode, immature adult.
Yeah.
So that's where I was. But I think for me, it was hard. For her, she was adjusting. She's like, but she was still having trouble in school. So it was like no matter what school she went to, she was having trouble in. She would get put out. She's literally been put out every Richmond public school.
So I guess what resources or what things were you trying to do to, I guess, help her with?
Right.
It sounded like an attitude issue or
I think it was more so self-esteem.
Self-esteem. Okay.
Yeah, self-esteem issue. We had a lot of resources for her. Counseling. She's been in counseling since she was 7 years old.
Okay.
Therapy. She's been in therapy since she was 7. But she feel like, why do I have to change if my mom is the one that made me like this? That's where the attitude came in. Like, I was perfect. I was fine until you did this to me. And now I'm not okay. So that's where the issue's always been with me and her.
So how do you walk that? How do you, I guess, take that journey? Because I feel like as a parent, we all, it's a time to face, what they call it, face the piper, where your kid's gonna be like, yo, you did this to me and it had this effect. Like, we all gonna come under fire at some point. So I guess, how do you take that in, hear them out, but then I guess for me, and I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I be thinking about all the time, I want to make sure I hear her out and let her know, whatever I did, that wasn't my intentions, but at the end of the day, you're your own person. Yeah. And you gonna have to learn how to figure it out. Even though I might have been the cause. Like, how do you communicate that with your daughter?
Now or at that stage?
At that stage, and then I guess we could talk about now too.
Yeah. At that stage, let me think. I don't think I've known how to communicate that with her at that stage. It was.
So what was you doing at that stage now, when she would probably bring some stuff like that up to you?
I take it personal and make it about me, how I feel about it, the emotions that I get from it, the embarrassment and the shame that I feel from the things that she do. Because I wanted her to understand why things would be the way that it is. Because, if you didn't go to school and did this and embarrassed me at that age, right, at that level, we wouldn't be here. So I think I took it too personal. And I'm still a broken little 15-year-old inside, trying to get my point across too, of the things that I had to go through as a kid, the trauma that I've been through with my grandma, the neglect that I had to experience, the abuse, the mental abuse, growing up poor in poverty, when everybody else had everything. I'm still a bruised little girl in the inside, trying to get my point across to my kid, because we both hurting. We're both broken.
So what do you do now?
Now, I don't take it personal at all, because I know that her mental issues stems from within and not from me. because I've done everything I needed to do to be a better person up to this point. I may not have been the best person, but I've put you in doors that helped you grow to where you can understand a little bit more that I was only 15 and I did the best that I could. And right now I'm not doing it. So when she bring up stuff from the past, I ask her, and this really helps calm her down. I said, is it happening now? She said, no. I said, okay, then we can't let it bother us to that point because it's not happening in your life now. So it's not easy for her to forgive me because first little thing that I don't do, she's going to bring it all up. It's going to get brought all up.
So I guess that's all kind of brought us up to now. So how do you feel like your relationship and everything is with your daughter? And then after this, you know, because we've probably been talking for like a little while now, but this is about you, and I want to make sure that you get your story off.
Right.
We still got to talk about your upbringing and how you even get pregnant at 15. You know what I'm saying? But since it's called Mom's the Bruh, I wanted to focus on the.
No, it's not called that. No more.
It's not called that no more. But it's still gonna be about single moms and stuff, right?
Right.
So I wanted to get your mom section, but I think it's important to know the backstory. Of like, how do you end up in that situation to begin with? But how would you say your relationship is with you and your daughter now?
Still a lot of work that needs to be done with me and her. Because again, she's at those ages where I was when I had her. So I skipped all that. You know, I skipped all of my important adolescence and teen years. I missed out on the things that normal 15-year-olds would be doing at that time. So it's still rocky because there's still hurt with her. And her hurt is being displayed by impulsive decisions and is messing up her life. And she don't know it yet because she's still blaming me. You know, she struggled with taking accountability because she wants to blame me for everything. But now it's like, you got to see that the things that you are doing are causing you to get in these situations. I'm not telling you to go out there and go do any of the stuff that you're doing now. I'm not making you make these type of decisions just because you don't have money to blow and spend on, you know, little stupid stuff. I'm not making you make those type of decisions. So now it's more so helping her realize that we can't blame other people. At the age you're at now, you have to take all the accountability for the decisions that you make that lead you to where you are. Because you have your own life, you have to figure it out. You have a life outside of me, or you have a life at school. You have a life with your friends. You have a life with your counselor now, you know, your relationship with your counselor now. So you have to start figuring out and becoming more mature. So I would say it's still hard because she's not as mature as I would think she would be at 15. Like a normal 15-year-old. Like, she's still getting put out of school. She's still traveling and bouncing from school to school. So it's like, now I'm not even suited to work a 9-to-5 job because I constantly have to be in a position to make sure she's okay because she's getting in trouble a lot. So it's like, it went from bad to worse. Because at these stages, she's 15, she want to fight. You can't whoop them at 15. They want to fight at 15. So we literally had a really toxic relationship where we were fighting all the time, and then she would be running away and just getting into things she didn't need to be getting into. But she said I didn't listen. I didn't listen to her. But again, I feel the same way she feel. Nobody's listening to me, you know, because I'm triggered. So I'm still trying to get my point across as this 15-year-old girl who didn't get heard, right? Who wasn't understood or under they didn't understand me. And of course, when you think you have kids, you like, oh, I'm going to do my best to make sure they don't grow up like I did. But it's like, if you're not healed, or if you're not working on healing yourself from the things that you've been through as a kid, you're not going to have that type of relationship. You're not going to be able to give better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So that's where y'all at. So it's still work in progress.
Very much so.
What is things that you're working on now, I guess, to continue to repair that relationship?
Mm-hmm. Things I'm working on now is soft parenting, where no yelling, listening to understand, because it's in the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It definitely teaches you to listen more. Listen to understand, because at first, remember, I'm listening to respond. Well, sometimes I listen because I want to be heard. But now I have to learn how to put that to the side, because I'm grown. At my big age, I'm grown. I have to listen to understand. And I just use different discipline techniques that works for us. And I try to be more understanding of what's going on, but sometimes I don't get it. Sometimes I just don't get it. And it makes it hard for me, because I'm like, okay, even when I'm doing this and things going good and I'm thinking everything good, the school call. They're like, oh, she been acting like this for 3 weeks. 3 weeks?
Why y'all just calling me now?
Yeah. Like, what's going on? Why is this happening now? So, yeah, it's a work in progress, because she has mental issues, or she's working on her mental health, and she doesn't get it. She just doesn't get it. It's a slow progress.
Have you seen progress recently?
Recently, yes.
Okay.
Because she was in detention. So she had nothing but time to think about her decisions and trying to be a better person.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because at this stage, I'm helping you redirect correct your mistakes, right? Because at first I had to correct my mistakes. Now I'm helping her correct her mistakes based off her decisions and getting her out of, certain things.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So we went through the whole parenthood process and everything like that. And if you feel up to it, man, I'm really interested. What leads up to a 15-year-old, one, even having sex, and then two, having a child? Like, what scenarios you think played a factor into leading up to that?
Escaping, wanting to escape, being around my grandma all the time, not feeling like we didn't have anything that other people had. Going through all this, you insecure, you're dealing with all of these emotions, and the first boy that likes you, you like them. And that's how it started.
Gotcha.
And he was like the escape. So we started having sex.
I know you speak of your grandmother, but you haven't said anything about your mom and dad. Like, what's the situation like what was the situation growing up like with them?
Right. So I actually didn't grow up with my dad in the household, and I didn't grow up with my mom. My mom passed away when I was 10, and she was on drugs. And my grandma got custody of me when I was 10 years old, because my mom wasn't stable enough to take care of me and my brother. My brother ended up going with another family member, and right now he's incarcerated. And my dad was incarcerated until I was 15. So when he came home, I was pregnant.
That's wild.
What a shocker. So he's upset. He mad. So now we don't even get to have a relationship, because he's mad that I'm pregnant. So yeah, that's how that was.
Okay, I got you. So I guess we done went through your whole storyline, right?
Uh-huh.
What's the biggest takeaway from the for the listeners out there? What's like the biggest thing you would want them to take away from like your story, your podcast, everything that you're trying to accomplish?
Right. My biggest takeaway is that sometimes even when the odds are against you, it's being set up in your favor to help you succeed. Because just listening to that, you wouldn't think that I'd be right here today. Just knowing what I've went through and what I've experienced and the type of mom that I was, people didn't think I was going to make it out like that. And they're like so shocked that I'm here now. I'm in this space. I'm healthy and I'm pulling through, even still going through all of these challenges with my daughter. So my biggest takeaway is that God will literally set you up to make it seem like you're failing, to help you succeed and prosper. So even when you think you're not going to make it, you're going to make it. And that's part of your story, right? Making it is part of your story. And going through all of those things is part of your story because it's who you are. So I don't want anyone to ever get discouraged because they're not in the right space or they're failing or they think they're not succeeding. And whole time is something much bigger planned for you. So,
hey man, look, that made me want to subscribe. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
That made me want to subscribe. But you know, I want to thank you for allowing me the pleasure to interview you, ask you these questions. There's a lot of stuff I learned. Like I've known Tony, we've known each other like two years, 3 years now.
2 years, yeah.
And we done had a lot of conversations and to be able to see the growth that you had to even get to the point to even want to create this platform is amazing. So I just want to tell you that I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
just happy to be a part of it and that you chose me to ask you these questions and everything like that. So
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you for, being here, being able to interview me, taking out the time of your day to, know more about me and my story. And I appreciate you. Let the people know where they can find you on your Instagram and stuff.
So like I said earlier, y'all can find me. I want y'all to go follow me first on my nonprofit, man. Show love to that at Rebuilding Men. So you can follow me on there. But personally, if you want to follow me, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, Paul DeBerry. We're going to make sure we put it down in the description. And then on Instagram, I used to do my thing in music back in the day. So that's how I got my Instagram name.
Okay.
So it's Fresh Air, FRESHHEIR1. You can follow me there. So y'all can keep up with me. I might be bringing my podcast back because this kind of got my juices flowing.
Okay.
And we gotta put the description on. I interviewed her for my podcast before too. So
where they can find that.
Yeah. We put that up there too.
Yeah,
so y'all can go see the transformation, because she went on a little podcast run at that time, because she came on mine, went up to Baltimore, or was it DC?
Oh, I was supposed to be on like a little dating jank in Baltimore, but I ain't never go.
Oh yeah. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, it is.
That's another story. So, but yeah.
Yep. Well, I want to say thanks, man. This was awesome. You did a really good job with asking great questions. Everything just kind of flowed. So yeah, this was awesome.
All right, man. Well, look, hey, we gonna peace out now, man. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
All right, peace.